We want to bring in the Speaker of the House now, Democratic Congresswoman Nancy Pelosi of California. Speaker, thank you very much for being with us.
And Madam Speaker, let's start with some good news. A bill was passed yesterday that's going to help out small businesses, going to help out hospitals. And what we're excited about, and I know a lot of senior citizens, Republicans and Democrats alike, a lot of money going towards testing. Give Americans the good news, how you came together with Republicans and actually passed a bill that can help our hospitals, help our seniors, help small businesses, and help on testing.
Good morning. Happy Earth Day to you. Yes, we were very pleased that the Senate finally accepted the fact that we needed more money for testing for hospitals, for smaller businesses to participate in the Paycheck Protection Program. That took them a couple of weeks, but they finally did. We're in a tradition of having this be the fourth bill that we were passing in a bipartisan spirit, 3 in the month of March. The first one, March 4th, passed in the House, was about testing, testing, testing. A month and a half later, we still aren't where we need to be. Hopefully, with the bill that passed the Senate yesterday and will pass the House tomorrow, there will be the recognition that if we want to open the country, if we want to open our economy, the key to that is testing, 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 contact tracing, as well as, again, I think you want to call it isolation, separation, or the rest. But again, Mitch McConnell likes to say we delayed the bill. No, he delayed the bill. 2 weeks ago, he came to the floor and said, this is all we're doing, just the $250. And the Democrats were united, House and Senate. The Senate Democrats went to the floor and said, no to that. We have a better idea about hospitals and testing and more funds for all of the businesses, the lower, shall we say, the unbankable small businesses. So we were very pleased that he finally came around to the fact that we had to go forward with this. So he was the one wasting time. I say that because I keep hearing him say, we delayed. No, he delayed. But here we are, and we're ready to go on to the next bill to help our heroes, our healthcare workers, our firefighters, our first responders, EMS, our folks who are doing all the wonderful work to save lives as they risk their lives, and now they may lose their jobs.
Madam Speaker, can you tell us how the money's going to help hospitals, how the money's going to help move national testing forward? Just give us a few specifics about. I know a lot of senior citizens who are watching this show, and they're really concerned, especially about the economy opening up before testing, more robust testing gets rolled out. Tell us how this bill moves America in the right direction for testing.
Well, this is a very important step. We thought the first bill in March would have been acted upon, certainly by now. This allocates $25 billion for testing. Some of it to go to the states, some to different agencies of government to do research, et cetera, and approvals. This is very, very positive in that it recognizes the need for testing, and it also recognizes the need for us to document how this terrible pandemic is affecting different communities. If you do not test, you cannot possibly know the size of the challenge. Once you do, then you are in a better place to get rid of it, and that is the path to opening the economy. So for our seniors and nursing homes and the rest, as you say, that's a big toll being taken there. But if we can test and contact and isolate people, we're on a very much better path. There's a Boy Scout saying, proper preparation prevents poor performance. Well, that was exactly where the president gets an F. He was not properly prepared, not with the truth, with the facts, or the admission of what was happening in our country. Delay, whatever, delay, denial, death. Instead, we'd like to see him insist on the truth, and we must insist on the truth with him. And that is really what should give us hope. If he finally, it's never too late. It's never too late, as I keep saying, to tell the truth, Mr. President, and it's never too late to do the right thing and to pay attention to science, 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 and science.
Now, I couldn't agree with that more. I'm just wondering, though, about the actual reality of this. Who's going to manage, for example, the $25 billion toward testing? And just very honestly, because people really want to sort of know the truth about what's going on here, what is your confidence level in the president's ability to manage mass testing for the American people, to manage this in a way that is productive and that will help?
Well, my confidence is not high in that regard, but my faith is in the science and the scientists who are speaking out, really debunking some of what the White House experts are saying, that we just need X number of tests a day. We're never going to get there at the snail pace that they are putting forth. But you have seen scientists outside, academics and the rest, setting a standard 3 times higher than what the White House is talking about. So we have put the resources there. We're prepared to do more in terms of the testing in the next legislation as we see how productive it all is. But again, this has to be across the country. It's all ethnic groups, it's all geographies, all income levels. I just saw that the former president of Stanford passed away by a scientist himself from the coronavirus. So it's so indiscriminate. And I'm very sad about the people in the street, because I pray for them, because they are exposing themselves and hopefully not taking it home to their children and their families. So I wish the president, instead of being an agent of distraction, to say, oh, he embraces what's going on the street because it's a distraction from his failure on testing, or instead of talking about immigration because it's a distraction from his failure on testing, would frankly just grow up to the fact that we have a big challenge in our country.
Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.